Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podengo puppy, Sophie. Welcome. This is a knitting podcast. I'm going to talk about the things that I have currently finished, the things that I am working on at the moment, and the things that I hope to finish in the future. And I've got a lot to talk about today. There's been a lot of attempts, false starts, and the like lately, and so I kind of wanted to get into it. I didn't know if I was going to have a sweater FO this week or this podcast because I had knitting ADD. I couldn't focus on anything, and I was just bouncing around from thing to thing, but you can see that I did finish something as I am wearing it. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. So I did finish my potluck pullover, which is a pattern by Victoria Zakanowicz. And I knit this completely out of a half skein set, a 50-gram skein set, Halloween, obviously, colorways that I had gotten from Mustache Yarns. So there were 50 grams of each of the colors, and then it also came with like a 20-gram sparkly white that I didn't put into this. So it is done. I've got some pictures here of me wearing it. I have mixed thoughts about it, mixed feelings. I love the way the stripes look. I think it's the perfect amount, perfect length of stripes. I really enjoy that. I love the shorter stripes for the black, but I think that it's too long. I think the neck is too wide. I don't know. It's a little bit too big. It's supposed to have a lot of positive ease. I cut down on the positive ease. I still feel like it's got too much. I feel like I should have maybe even gone down a whole stripe sequence. But then I feel like it would have been too short. I don't know. I don't feel 100% about it. I'm just not sure. I don't think it's the pattern's fault. I don't think there's, I just think that it's just okay. Let's say it that way. It was enjoyable to knit, as we've talked about before. I am mostly a process knitter. I really like the process of knitting things. And the end product is just kind of like a bonus at the end. I'm just happy to have something fun to do with my hands during the day. So yeah, for that, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I did not enjoy weaving in 85 million ends because I had two ends for every single one of these stripes. But I did enjoy making it, and I do think it looks cute. I don't know if it's exactly right. Those of you who have any experience with it, do you think that maybe if I crocheted around the collar, because it's collar is garter stitch, all of the hems are garter stitch, so I'm wondering if I crocheted around the collar, if that would help, or if that would just make it look funky. Look at the pictures, tell me what you guys think. It's gonna be fine. It's really, just to wear during the spooky season, every so often, so it's not like I was gonna get married in it or something. It's okay. But it is finished, and this is the 11th sweater, garment, clothes item that I have finished this year, and it is August 12th. So midway through August, I have finished 11. I have number 12 so close to being done, and I will show that to you in a minute. So I will, there's no way that unless I lose both my arms today, there's no way I will not finish my 12th sweater this year. I should make sure that I don't want, Lord, I don't want to lose my arms today. Please don't let that happen. So yeah, this will be the first year in the entirety of the time that I have knit that I have made 12 sweaters in 1 year, and I have tried so many years in a row, and I think the closest I ever got was 8. But the year that I did 8, it was like, you know, really small shrugs. You know, it wasn't really knitting 12 garments, and I think that some of them were for my kids when they were little, so that didn't even really count either. So this is 12 adult-sized tops or sweaters that I have almost finished. I am just right on the edge of it. I would have had it done already, except for that I'm waiting for buttons. So this is not the only finished item that I have today. I do have another one, and let me tell you, it's not knitting. It is crochet. Christy crocheted. Christy crocheted, and Christy is still crocheting, which very unlike me. But I am digging the vibe, and I'm going with it. There are times, so Delaney and I are very close. You saw probably in the last video, she climbed up into my lap for a few minutes. She needs to, you know, I am her emotional support mom, I guess. And so, anyway, we spend a lot of time together. And one of the things that we do every so often is she will take one of my hearing aids, put it in her ear, and then we will watch Instagram Reels together. My phone feeds through my hearing aid, so all the sound comes through there. So it's like she's borrowing an AirPod, basically. And we'll watch Instagram Reels together. And because I do a lot of knitting on my Instagram, my Reels reflect that. And so we came across Mom Stitchetti, who made this really cute cow. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Goth cow. And this is what Mom Stitchettis look like. And I thought, that's adorable. And Delaney immediately wanted it. Oh, Mom, that's so cute. Make me the goth cow. Make me a goth cow. You know, she's super into rock and roll and bands and is doing that whole aesthetic. And so the goth cow with the earrings and whatnot, that just totally just tickled her tacos. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I promptly forgot about it. And then she reminded me, and then I forgot about it again. And then she reminded me, and then she started the guilt trip, as only the teenagers, your youngest daughter's teenagehoodness can produce. Well, if you really loved me, you'd have made me a goth cow by now, Mom. And so I finally ordered the yarn, and then it came, and then I had nothing that was going to stop me from, I had no excuse anymore. I had to make the goth cow. So I have done it. I did not enjoy it. I don't think it looks nearly as cute as the goth cow that we saw on Mom Stitchetti, but I mean, she does this for like a job. I think she sells her creations. She writes patterns. She's doing adorable things with plushies. I am not a plushie person. I don't like sewing things on. I really dislike that. But I did it because I love my kid. So he's a little bit misshapen. She's been sleeping with the cow. I think it looks a little bit too much like a dog, but we're going with it. I really enjoyed the body. The body is knit in one piece. You knit the arms separately, but then nope, you crochet the arms separately, but you then crochet them into the body, onto the body, and then, you know, the head is all one piece, and then you crochet the ears, the snout, and the horns separately and sew them on. And that was the part that I really, really hated. So doing the body, I did it all in almost like 2 evenings, just knocked it out, stuffed it, it looked adorable, and then I had to finish it, and that took me like a week and a half to get up the gumption to do it, and I did not enjoy it, and I don't think that it worked out perfectly, but, you know, it is what it is. She thinks it's fine. I think it's awful. I think it's god-awful ugly, but, you know, there you have it. So it's cow. It's done. I purchased Mom's Stitchetti's. I don't think she's got her patterns on Ravelry at all. At least I couldn't find them. I purchased them through Etsy, and did purchase a couple of other ones. I bought them all at the same time, thinking that I'm gonna make this cow and it's going to be amazing, and then I'm going to move on and make these other things. I will not be making them. But I did buy Faye the Fox and Willa the Wolf, which are adorable. And I bought Beatrix the Bat, and I was super in love with the bat. This is a new one that she's just put out. It's stinking cute, and she's got there was like a pumpkin spice bat that she made. It was adorable. There was a candy corn bat. I will not be making a bat. However, I did gift these patterns, since I'm not going to be making them. I gifted them to a coworker who really enjoys knitting amigurumis, crocheting amigurumis, and so I was like, here, you can have these patterns and do fun things with them. So maybe I'll commission her to make me a bat, because I would be willing to pay for it. I don't think I'm willing to make it though, because I think you have to sew the wings and the ears on. If it was all one piece, I'd be fine, but I don't want to sew anything on. So anyway, so I did crochet somewhat successfully. The child is happy with her goth cow. It's supposed to have earrings and a nose ring, but Ron is in charge of making those, because I issued him that task. So we'll see when that actually happens. But she's enjoying it, and that's the important thing. I had to steal it from her in order to podcast, because she was still in bed, and she wasn't keen on that. So I'm still, as I said, I'm still crocheting. I found that while I hated the snout and the ears, I really enjoyed the body, as I said. So I kind of enjoyed the process of crocheting, and, you know, doing the magic ring and doing the increases and the decreases. And there have been a couple of crochet patterns that I have come across over the years that I've, like, you know, if I ever learn to crochet, I want to be able to make this. And I'm, you know, really in garment mode. And so I just happened to look at what I had in my queue recently. Recently, I happened to look at what I had in my queue. And I came across the Amma Granny Square top. Amma, A-M-M-A. And that is a pattern by Maria Valles. And it looks real simple. Like, I know enough about sweater construction that I can see that it is it is 2 granny squares that are put face to face, you know, front to put against each other, and sewn at the shoulders and then sewn at the sides, and then there's like a single crochet sleeve, and then maybe a border on the bottom. Okay, I'm like, I can single crochet. That's what I used for the cow. I could figure out a granny square. I mean, it's like where everybody starts crocheting, right? You know, you do a chain, then you do a granny square. Okay, I can work this out. I can do this. And it called for lace yarn, and I had This skein of Wollmeise lace that I have had in my stash for at least a decade. And if you're not familiar, Wollmeise lace is massive skeins. There's 1,800 yards in here. It's 326 grams, I think. And it's a lace weight, but it's not a super light lace weight. And I thought, well, that might be a good, and I love this color. I mean, look at how pretty that colorway is, right? So I was like, okay, let me do it. I got my crochet hooks. I'm not a crocheter, but I have a lot of hooks because, as we've discussed before, collecting knitting and fibery accoutrements is a whole other hobby besides knitting. So a while back at a craft fair, I picked up this set of interchangeable crochet hooks. It comes with a C all the way to an H. I don't know what those are in millimeters because it doesn't say on the hooks, but I have it. There's a polymer clay handle, and then the hooks just slide in and out. And I was like, okay, I've got my trusty crochet hook set. I have other ones as well, but I'm like, yeah, let me pull it out. I got the size that it called for, which I believe was an E, which I think was 3.5 millimeters. And I sat down with the instructions. I think it's a free pattern. It is a free pattern. I sat down with the instructions, and it says, do a granny square any way you want to, but here's how I like to do it. And had the instructions, and I started doing it with this yarn, and it was awful. And I'm like, I can't, no, this is, no. And I'm gonna waste half this yarn because the pattern really only calls for like 800 yards rather. And so I was like, do I have something that I can use? Because I really love this color and I want to use all of it, or at least close to all of it. So I was like, let me put this aside and let me see if I have any other lace yarn in my stash. And I did. I have 2 skeins of Madeline Tosh lace. The Prairie, which is a single, but it comes with 840 yards, and it's 100% merino wool. And I'm like, well, a single's not quite the best idea for a garment, but you know, it's gonna be, you know, an overgarment, so it's not gonna get a lot of wear. There's not real sleeves, so there won't be a lot of friction, you know, and so maybe the single will work. And so I pulled out the skein. This is Cosmic Wonder Dust, and it's beautiful, right? You know, and it's similar to, you know, I loved the Alma sample that she had made in the white. I thought it just looked so clean and fresh, and I was like, oh, this will be perfect. So I started with this, and if you can see, that is really thin yarn. Hopefully that's coming in clear. That is really thin. That is lace weight. This is heavier. This is just, it's like almost could be light fingering, right? And I got, I tried to do like the first round of the granny square, and like, this is awful. I can't make this. I can't do this. So I have 2 friends at work, 2 people on my team, the department that I work in, that both are crocheters. One are crocheters. One is the amigurumi. She makes adorable, cute little creatures, and then the other one, she does a lot of blankets, and so she's really well versed in granny squares. And so I asked her, I was like, can you help me? Because while I have knit for close to 15, 16 years, crochet has always confounded me. I just don't understand it. So I was like, can you help me? And so we discussed it, and she was like, you know, that's really small yarn, and that's kind of a big needle for such small yarn, 3.5 millimeters. Needle, hook, I'm never going to get that right. I'm sorry. I've got 16 years of using knitting terminology. It is hard for me to remember to switch to crochet. So if I say the wrong thing, just know that I mean the right thing. So we were kind of looking through my stash on Ravelry, and I was, and part of the justification for the next yarn that I'm going to show you is that I saw this one in the projects that had been made. You use this pattern, and I thought, that's really cool. I love that gradient. I have something in my stash that's kind of like that. And so I pulled out this Yarn Art Flowers, which I had picked up online a while back. I was gonna make, in fact, I still have it, hang on. If you've been with the podcast for a while, then you will have seen this. I think it is called Wingspan. Here it is. It's a shawl that's got wings, and I bought this skein of Yarn Art Flowers with which to make it. I got that far, so this is the neck section. It would go around like this, right? And you can see that I started to get some proper feathers, right? It's a beautiful pattern, and well written and everything. I have no complaints about the pattern, but it takes a lot of focus. I tried to have the focus. I don't think that I will ever have the focus. So I don't think I'm ever going to finish this. But when I bought, I am digressing everywhere, I apologize. When I bought this one, this yarn it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, I believe. 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. It's very soft. I think it's a 4-ply. You know, it's very pleasant to work with, very smooth and soft. And it was very reasonably priced. I think it was like $12, $13 for almost 1,100 yards. So I bought two. I bought this one as well. And I was like, well, I have this. And it's fingering weight yarn, so I can make it out of this. That'll be a little bit heavier yarn, and we'll go with that. So I went home and started, and I think I have a picture here of my first attempt. I'm like, okay, it works. And her granny square had a chain 5 at the beginning, which confused me completely. So like I tried it without it, and I'm like, that doesn't quite look right. And then I tried it with it, and I like finally figured out what she was doing. And so I did it, and I brought it to work the next day, and we kind of agreed that the hook still was too big. And I have plenty of yarn. Like I said, there's almost 1,100 yards here. I'm like, I can make it out of a smaller hook because I have extra yarn. Okay, so go home, start yet again, and I'm really proud of myself because I like got the smaller hook. I understand the the chain 5 at the beginning of each round for the square. I no longer have to look at the pattern. Like, I've got this memorized. And a granny square isn't hard, right? So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I get like 9 rounds in. And it's beautiful. I'm really proud of myself. Look it, I've crocheted. I've successfully crocheted something, and it looks real pretty. And real purple. Really, really purple. I haven't changed colors yet, and I tried to see how much more do I have until I start hitting the blue. I have this much more until I start hitting the blue. So this would be the center. This is like half of the granny square is gonna be purple. And so I bring it back to work, and I'm talking to her about it, and I'm like, it's gonna be so much purple. And that's part of the deal with this. The first and the last color are larger sections. I'm like, so my options are that I can have the front square be purple and go out, and then maybe do the back square starting with the orange, going out to where they would kind of meet, but there's no guarantee that I'm going to get through half of these colors. I don't think I'm going to. And then I have to do the sleeves, which would be a different color, so I'm kind of going back and forth. And I brought up that picture again of the one that I liked. I'm like, it has such a subtle shift of colors. I do have this yarn, this Regia yarn. I think it's Regia. Yeah, Regia yarn that I picked up super duper on sale from Little Knits a while back, because I bought a knitting machine secondhand, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna want to practice. I need some cheap yarn to practice on. So Little Knits had this stuff. It was like 80% off. I paid almost nothing for it. I'm like, okay, I'll practice with that yarn, but I don't need all of it. I'll take 2 skeins, because it's this color line, and it's got that subtle gradient. It's 100% wool. Let's see, 437 yards. No, it's 75-25, sorry. 75-25, so it's sock yarn, right? Obviously, sock yarn. But it's got that subtle color shift. It's also fingering, so let me try that. So last night, I cast on, what is this, like the 5th time? And I make that. And I continued on this morning. And I'm just working away, and I'm like, I love the color shift. It's super pretty. Okay, all right, this is it. But as I'm crocheting more and more, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This is really scratchy. This is not going to have that delicate look that the pattern sample that I fell in love with has. This is going to be more, I don't know, just it's like a clog dancer and a ballerina. They both are amazing in their own way, and super talented, and you are jealous because you can't do either. But a ballerina is graceful and elegant, and a clog dancer is not. And that is the beauty of them. But this is a clog dancer, and that picture is a ballerina. So I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Because I'm running out of yarn to try. So I thought, you know what? I have now obviously successfully made some granny squares. let me go back to the Madeline-Tosh lace and see if I can do it now in the smaller lace. I've had some practice, like maybe I can do it now. So this morning I grabbed the Madeline-Tosh and I started a new granny square. And there you go. And I have done it successfully, semi-successfully. You might notice that I goofed up right at the beginning. I don't know if you guys can see that. I goofed up right at the beginning. I've got the chain here in the back. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did, and I'm not going back. I think it's pretty, but I can already see that it's not holding up very well being a single. So I don't know. It is pretty. It is more of a ballerina dancer. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Maybe I should just give up on it. Maybe I should go back and continue with the purple, because this is very soft and lovely. I don't know. I am enjoying it, but I've now made it 6 times, started it 6 times, and haven't finished it once. And I did come across some patterns that other people have made with this Yarn Art Flowers tops, summer tops, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna rip this out and make one. Make it, and it's a knitted summer top. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just cut. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But any advice? Any of you all that are big crocheters with a capital C, let me know your thoughts, because I am obviously struggling, and I've never had this problem with a knitted item. I've never started something so many different times, and I know that part of it is because I know so much more about knitting. So it's there is instinct that I have that I don't have with crochet. But I'm just trying to come out with one, finished thing and have it work out, and I just haven't figured out how to make that happen yet. So yeah, okay. Next, so that's my crochet saga. I have decided, however, that this needs to be made into a garment. Now that I've finally wound it, I'll see if I can find a picture. I don't think I have a picture of the full skein before, but it was this massive skein, and you can see how big this cake is. It's like a big one. But I was thinking maybe combining it with some mohair and making like a cropped cardigan, because I love the look of mohair, but I need it to be an overgarment. I wore my Love Note yesterday to work, and I spent the entire day, let me tell you, I wore a knitted top every day last week to work, and it was really cool, and I didn't even get through all of the tops. I'm not talking about the sweaters, like the t-shirts, the the things that I made not to be warm, but just to be cute. Yeah, I didn't even get through them all. So, but I wore the Love Note yesterday, and I spent the entire day like brushing the mohair down away from my face. It's not even a very high neck, but it just, like, it tickled me. I felt it all the time. So I definitely need it to be an outer garment that is worn, because I wore that Love Note over a tank top, and it needs to be worn over like a full shirt. So I was thinking about getting some mohair to pair with this, and then I can make like a sport weight or maybe even a DK weight. I did find this pattern that I might use, but I have to get the mohair, and I have to get 1,800 yards of it, or thereabouts, and that's going to be kind of pricey. Rowan has a color that's very similar to this, because I don't want to lose this beautiful green, but it's, you know, like $13 a skein, and I don't really want to spend that much money on it. I think Drops has a much better price point, but I don't think they have the right color. So it's, I wound this very loosely, so it should be okay in the cake for a while, but I'm gonna have to find the right color. If you guys know of a reasonably priced mohair, or what is that other one? What's the one that's not mohair that people are using, the ones that have allergic reactions to mohair? Surrey alpaca, maybe. If you guys know of any that has this nice chartreusey color, let me know. And yeah, because I got to find something. Let's see, what else have I done? So we went. If you guys follow me on Instagram, we went to the county fair last weekend, and Mom and I entered some things in the county fair. I entered these socks that I knit for her several years ago out of Yarn Enabler. It's the pencil and paper socks, and then I put in my my shaved ice, and I got first place, or got blue ribbon on both of them, which I was super thrilled about. And I posted about it because I was like, oh my gosh, I got blue ribbon on both of my entries. After I posted, I started looking around. I don't think there were any other entries. There were other knitted items, but when I was looking at the classes, they were all different classes. So like there was a shrug, and there was a hat, and there was some blankets and stuff like that, but there were no other socks. I didn't see, besides the shrug, I didn't see another garment, and the shrug had a different class, and so yeah, I think I just got blue ribbon against myself, which my family was very supportive, and they all said to a man, well, you would have gotten blue ribbon anyway, Mom, which was super lovely of them. But yeah. So we were going to the county fair. I was going to be around, walking around. I don't have a pair of socks on the needles. I haven't had a pair of socks on the needles for a while. So I was like, I need to put something on the needles, but I don't want to wind a skein of yarn, and I don't really want to knit a pair of socks. So I grabbed leftovers. And I grabbed the leftovers from my outline tee. If you guys recall, this super bright, and I was like, I should hold this double with some mohair and knit something with it. So I did. So I have got this much of a hat going. I use the yellow mohair here for the folded brim, and I'm holding that bright yarn double with other yarns. So for the brim it was green, and you can see from the inside that I ran out of the yellow mohair, and I changed to the blue mohair, and then I ran out of the green, and I changed to this blue yarn, which was left over from, I think, some socks I had a friend crank for me. And I'm using this leftover navy mohair, and then I'm gonna finish that pretty soon. And I have this orange mohair leftover, I'm gonna use the leftover from there's like 5 grams left from my sweater. And that will be the finish of the hat. I think I've got enough yellow to finish it through. And yeah, that's the plan. It's gonna be a scrappy hat. I only work on it every so often. I got basically the brim pretty much all done while we were at the fair. And yeah, so it's just a hat. My brother will probably get it. If he doesn't want it, maybe I'll give it to charity. I don't know. It was just something to keep me occupied because I couldn't take a garment to knit at the fair. So there's that. I wanted to say, I had leftovers of all the colors on this shirt. There was about 5 grams each. I think I had a little bit more of the green, a little bit less of this one, but yeah, that's just kind of, I've got a little leftover sake slot down here on this tray thingy. And I still have 2 more. I should be showing you a baby sweater right now because I have a coworker who is pregnant and due next month, and I asked her if I could knit for her, and she of course said yes, and so like I've committed myself, I need to do this, and I just haven't gotten to do it. I'm having a hard time picking. I was going to knit, and this is where I think I'm going to need some more advice again. I was going to knit Jones. Let me see if I can find a better. This is a Tin Can Knits pattern that I've actually knit before, Jones. And here is the one that I made before. I made it for another coworker for her baby, and it turned out really cute. And I was like, well, I can knit Jones. I have this. This is the Verdant Griffin Traveler DK in the Downcast Donkey. The Verdant Griffin, I think, is still dying. It's beautiful gray. I've used it in other patterns before. But I remember when I made this initially, I remember thinking, gosh, this is more work than it's worth. Because it's moss stitch and cables, and moss stitch is annoyance. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad now, but I found it a little annoying. And yet I'm like, so this is somebody that I want to make. I don't want it to be like too boring of a sweater, you know, because stockinette, an old little baby grandpa cardigan would be adorable, right? But then it won't be impressive. The Jones is impressive because it's got cables. I don't know. Plus I have this button art dragonfly that I have had forever, and I'm like, that would be great for a little boy. But I don't know if I want to sew all them buttons on either. I'm having a hard time, y'all. So I gotta knit a baby sweater. I need to start it this weekend. I have not been able to find the pattern that I want to make, and so I'm just dealing with it. I think that I'm gonna make it out of that gray. I don't think it's gonna be the Jones sweater. I wound the yarn and printed out the pattern and everything, but I don't think that that's what I want to make, so I'm gonna come up with something else. And I don't think that this podcast will be up before I figure it out, so if you do have suggestions, please feel free to put them in the comments. But you know, because people keep having babies, so I'm sure that I will be able to use any suggestions at another time. But I did, of course, start another sweater for myself, because that's what I do nowadays. And let me point out that it is not this one that I showed you guys last podcast, that I rewound all the yarn and was like, yes, I'm going to start this, the next one. I've got to understand about myself that I am a super mood knitter. So when I wound this yarn and printed out that pattern, I was super in the mood to make this, and then I set it aside for a week and that mood left. So I was looking through things, and of course I've been watching a lot of knitting podcasts, and I was like, no, I want to knit this now. So I have printed out the pattern and wound yarn and started the Crisscross by Isabella Kramer. This wasn't, I mean, it was in my queue, but it wasn't really on my radar. This yarn wasn't on my radar to knit. I don't know why, but I did it. So it started. Here's the back. It's pretty yarn. Yeah. I haven't gotten very far. I just started the Crisscross. Let me show you a picture of what it looks like. It's got this beautiful like this crisscross pattern done in reverse stockinette on the back, and I thought it was pretty. And so I am using this yarn, which is Quince & Co. Owl Tweet. I got this at my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Knits in Centennial. Colorful Yarns, sorry, in Centennial. And this is basically the same as the Owl base, only it has tweedy nubs. So yeah, the colorway is Russet 369. I think it's a beautiful color. Nice browny orange or orangey brown, and it does have tweedy nubs. So yeah, I've gotten it started. I haven't gotten very far on it. I was working on it in the evenings, and then I decided to spend several evenings restarting a crocheted top. So it hasn't gotten a whole lot of love so far. But it'll get there. And I said I was going to do the Dark and Stormy. I still plan on it, but that yarn's over there. I printed out the pattern. I have one more, and that is the, what is this pattern called? Oh yes, the Gartrell cardigan by Tanis Lavely, Tanis Fiber Arts. If you guys recall, I picked up, I think I was talking about this in the last podcast. I don't know that I had it, maybe I had a sleeve cast on in my last podcast. But I picked out this this mini gradient from Frankie Gray Fibers, and I was just in love with it, and I bought some same yarn undyed to do the Gartrell, and I was going to do stripes on the gradient on the waist, and then have the rest of the sweater undyed. And as I said, I think I had a sleeve going. I might have even finished a whole sleeve. This is the thing that is 95% done. I just need buttons so I can finish the button band. Here, let me show you the back. Here it is, all ready to go. Every end is woven in, except for the button band. Just the one button band, because the other button band is complete. See, there it is. This looks more pink on camera. It is orange. It is coral orange. Here is the other button band, and it is on hold because I need the buttons, which I struggled finding. I needed to find the right size and the right color. And I wanted coral buttons to match this. So I have them coming, but I didn't realize when I bought them on Etsy that I was buying them from a UK shop. And while she shipped them the next day, it takes a little while to get from the UK to the US. So I am just waiting for the buttons to arrive, and then I will finish the button band. And I was going to say, I didn't know, I bought 2 different buttons from this seller, and one has, I think, 8, and one has 6. I think on my original Gartrell I only used 6 buttons, but basically I'm waiting to see which buttons I like best, because if I like the one that has 8 better, then I'm going to put 8 buttonholes on here. If I like the one with 6 better, then I'm going to put 6 buttonholes on here. So I'm basically waiting for the buttons to arrive to decide which ones I want, so I know how many buttonholes to make. So there is that. But it is all done. Other than that, like I said, all of the ends have been woven in. I've sewn all the pieces together, and I love it, and I can't wait for it to be finished. I can't wait for it to be cool enough for me to wear. I am hoping that I am not causing myself a whole lot of trouble by having white sleeves, because I can just see myself sticking my arm on something, on a desk or something, and getting these all stained. So we'll see how well it goes. If I knew how to dye, I think that I would take this and over dye it with a bunch of these speckles, especially these darkers, because I think that would look great. In fact, I considered trying to learn how to dye before I did the sleeves, or before I sewed them in, and then I was just going to speckle the sleeves alone, but I don't know how to dye, and I don't know anybody locally that knows how to dye, so yeah, maybe one day I will. I don't know. It'd be great if I had a dyeing best friend that could put speckles on my sweater, but other than that, it's nearly done. I think, look at those. Look at how pretty. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. I'm very, very pleased. I can't wait for the buttons to arrive soon. They will be here soon. All right, that's it, guys. I know that this one was a little discombobulated, and I do apologize if you heard my family in these last couple of minutes, because they have been having a very heated discussion about music. We are a very musical family. We all listen to a lot of music. Several of us play music and instruments, and so there's some definite opinions, let's say. So yeah, that's what I've got. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and happy knitting. Bye.